Sleep. Sleep is one of the most natural things we do. It's the moment our minds drift away from reality, a space where we rest, dream and recharge. Everyone needs it. Everyone seeks comfort. Everyone seeks safety and connection, especially before closing their eyes. For some people, this sense of comfort isn't found in the real world, it's found in virtual reality. In VRChat, entire communities and worlds have formed around sleeping together. Not in a romantic way, but in a shared and peaceful experience. People log in, lie down and drift off to sleep side by side, feeling closer to others even if they're miles apart. But like in any space where people seek comfort and vulnerability, there are those who seek advantage of it. Behind those cozy worlds and friendly voices, there is a darker side that people almost never see. When the night falls and the sun goes down, those sleeping worlds become the hunting grounds for predators. In this video, I present the results of my investigation of spending 1 week within those worlds, and you will see 3 cases of predators approaching a minor decoy account. And to be honest, it's pretty disgusting, and the worst part, it can't be stopped beside the best efforts of the moderation. Let me make one thing clear: if you notice any of the worlds or instances in this video, please don't go out of your way to harass them. Those groups do their best to keep everyone safe, even though sometimes it just can't be enough. It's not their fault. Also, please don't drop the names of any of the worlds in the comments. I will delete those comments, because I don't want this video to be an advertisement for predators who come from the outside of the game and see this as a new opportunity. With this being said, hey, it's me, Merciless, your favorite Angry Bird is back, and this time we will have a closer look into the dark side of VRChat's sleeping worlds. Stay merciless and roll the clip. Before getting into the first catch, I just want to quickly explain my setup for this whole operation. Basically, I went into one of the avatar worlds and grabbed me some of the most popular, younger looking e-girl characters. While styling those characters, I made sure to not wear any indecent clothing to reveal too much skin or anything, so nobody can tell me I was first trapping anyone. The next key part is obviously the profile itself. I made it to appear like the normal, everyday use account by a younger person. I made sure to not have any lewd details in the bio or to be part of any lewd groups or anything. Just pretty innocent stuff you would expect from a young teenager. The age 16 years is clearly visible in the profile. Everyone who reads the profile will know this is clearly a minor. With those 2 things in place, all that was left was to look up the most popular sleeping worlds, join them and look for a place to lay down. I didn't engage with anyone, I didn't talk to anyone, I basically just waited until someone would approach me. I scanned all the profiles within the instance. When I caught a minor, I usually blocked them. If I didn't get it fast enough and I got approached by a minor, I would just make up an excuse to not talk to them. And I only engaged with people who are either into a lot of 18+ groups or who are straight up 18+ verified. And lastly, during the interactions themselves, I had some basic rule sets. I would never be leading, I would never engage first, I would never make suggestions myself. I only followed up on requests and did things they wanted me to do. Anything to show that it's their intent and that they are into full control of the situation, that it's basically all coming from them. For full transparency, there were a few mistakes which I made, and we will talk about those as they show up in the clips. This is still a learning experience for me, so it's mostly about getting the timing right, especially about confirming each other's age fast enough. As you can see, I got a lot better at this. The third case is really a cut and dry and there is no room for interpretation, but you will see what I'm talking about. With this being said, we can finally get into the first case. The first suspect of this video is gonna be a user by the name of Kazzaaz. How I gonna handle this is I will let the footage play for the most part and I just give the play-by-play in certain points. As you can see, I was just sitting around and the person came up to me, starting to touch and petting me. I didn't really react much, so pretty quickly the person seemed to lose interest and I thought, okay, maybe it's done. The user just walked up to different people in the instance. For this guy in the video right now, I checked the profile. I couldn't confirm if it is a minor or an actual adult, so there wasn't any evidence for that in his profile. So I thought, okay, the situation is over, and out of nowhere there came a friend request. After I accepted the friend request, Kazzaaz was walking up to me again and started petting. As you can see in the groups, this is probably the weakest case. All I have going on is that the person is into 18+ groups, which you will see on the screen. I messed a little bit up on this part. I couldn't really find an opening to confirm the actual age. Here you can see that the person is starting to touch the legs, so it's getting a little bit more touchy and inappropriate for a minor. After a while, the user just left, and sure enough, there was an invite to a private instance, which I accepted. In the instance, we greeted each other and she started touching again. Then the user was starting to pose in front of a mirror. And at this point, I just observed. I didn't really interact on my own or do any actions, and just saw what would happen. Here the user continues to touch my decoy. And I still really didn't interact. There she switches through a bunch of different outfits and switched to a more revealing one. This was already a red flag. There the user says, "Your Avi is so cute." This is a line you will read in all 3 cases. It's typical grooming behavior to compliment your victim. Obviously I thanked her. Here the user starts asking me if the Avi has some different outfits. I can only speculate, but knowing these kind of guys, I kind of think the user wanted to see a more revealing one. I switched my outfit to show a little bit more skin, but I still tried to keep it decent. Here the user uses different outfits again, and as you saw for a second, switched to a completely naked NSFW avatar. Here I pretended that I never interacted with a full body tracking user. Did like a young teenager who's surprised by this and just thinks it's cool. The user starts to show off the movement of the full body tracking. I thought, okay, maybe let's try a different avatar and see if I get a reaction. So far there wasn't said anything explicit, so I thought maybe I could get something out of the person. Asking if it's better or worse. They kinda liked both, so. However, this avatar reveals the thighs a little bit, and as you can see, the user starts touching them, which is really inappropriate with a teenager given the area this surrounds. I mean, already for me, touching and cuddling with a minor is too much, but this is certainly crossing the line. The behavior continues, pointing a finger towards the area there. So at this point I was just waiting for a request by the person. Here she did this strange movement, and while doing this operation I didn't really catch it live, but now that I think about it, I think the person kind of implies to spread the legs, so I should have caught that, but yeah. And this was the point where the person straight up switched to a fully naked NSFW avatar, and this can't be marked as an accident anymore. I was quite shocked. This was usually the point where I planned as soon as something like this happens I would confirm the age of the person, but I was really just shocked, and from this moment I was just standing still, doing nothing. Person didn't really care about my reaction and just continued. And then this strange interaction happened where the person sunk into the ground, not really sure what to make out of this. Continues to walk between my legs. The person switched back to the normal outfit with clothing on and came up from the ground again. There is some more touching. And just when I was about to collect myself and ask for the age, the person announced that they had to leave. And right before leaving, they went for a kiss as well. Yeah, not the strongest case out of all of them. We had an indecent touching, we had a NSFW avatar, but I couldn't confirm the real age. I kept them on my friend list. They seem very inactive, and if this video doesn't blow up too much and they don't unfriend me, I'm gonna keep an eye on them and follow up on the investigation. But that's it for now. Moving on, we get to our second case, a user called Raiden, your typical e-boy, and from here on the things get a lot more spicy. Again, he just walks up to me, starts touching me and cuddling. He is age verified and has a lot of 18+ groups. He sent me a friend request and then left the instance, and at this point I was expecting an invite to a private instance. Sure enough, we got there and greeted each other. I kinda hate this world for recording because it blocked a lot of my view, and I apologize. I tried to get all the text messages zoomed in because some of them can't be read. He starts off with some cuddling and complimenting my avatar. Here's some basic small talk, what time it is for me. I tell him it's morning for me and I just woke up. And I don't really want to get up yet, so I have an excuse to stay. He asked me how I slept, and I just said I slept well. Here, some part of the conversation couldn't be seen, but I asked him what time it is for him, and he ended up confirming that he lives in the United States. Again, your Avi is bratty, typical groomer behavior. I just keep the conversation going by telling that I'm usually more of a furry person, which isn't really true, but whatever. Again, cute. Here he keeps complimenting me by saying I make him so cozy. And that he is about to fall asleep. He starts petting my head and gets very close. And he asked if I enjoy his cuddles. Some more petting. And here is the spicy part. He himself brings up the age and he lets me know that he is old. Right there he confirms that he is actually 27 years. So obviously I gonna make him aware of my age and then ask him if he is okay with my age as well. I ask him, you don't mind my age? He says, I don't mind. It couldn't be seen in the footage, but he said it's just cuddles. Sure enough, he keeps cuddling me. This is something he does a lot during the interaction. He kind of lifts up and looks down to my legs and starts touching them. Here I tell him that I should get up soon, because part of my story is it's morning for me, and he tries to get me to stay. And now he wants me to get even closer, as if we weren't already close enough. And with knowing my age, knowing his age, he knows he's interacting with a minor. He just gets close and goes in for a kiss. And I probably don't have to explain this. This is already messed up for an adult to do with a minor. Also, I really took one for the team here. You can't imagine how uncomfortable a situation like this is. Again, complimenting me as a cutie, typical groomer behavior, making me feel special. He asked me if I liked the kiss, and I just played around a bit like a teenager would with maybe. And so he goes in for seconds. This is also a weird thing he does often. He kind of moves his finger to his mouth and then puts it down towards my leg area. I can only imagine what he's trying to achieve there. And there's the third kiss. He just keeps going, still knowing my age, being pretty well aware that this isn't the right thing to do, but he doesn't care. And yeah, I let this play out for the whole duration, so you have to suffer just as much as I do, and I even give you a bonus one here. It really makes you question what the fuck is wrong with these kind of people. And once again the famous line, "You're so cute." And here he even asks me if I like my kisses. Once again, this guy knows I'm a minor. Why would you ask that? Why would you do that? Here I act innocent, reminding him that I'm just an innocent teenager. I usually don't do this stuff. I'm just cuddling, never kissed before. Here he asks me if I want more. Again, part of my strategy is to never be leading, so I let him make the choice if you want to. So it's all right in his hands. And as you can see, he takes this opportunity, he doesn't even think twice and goes straight for the next kiss. And at this point I have to mention, obviously my decoy is 16 years in some countries, or many countries in Europe for example, age of consent is 16 years. This isn't ideal, and I already level up new accounts, new decoy accounts which are lower to avoid these situations, but it's still messed up and it just isn't right to do something like this. And honestly, my personal opinion is just straight out disgusting. So if anyone gets in the comments and says, "Oh, 16 is legal," just fuck off, okay? And at this point I stopped counting how many times he went in for kisses, but there is another one. I mean, for this whole duration, this went on already for quite some time. He should have made the realization, okay, maybe this is wrong, I should stop and just quit this situation. This doesn't even cross his mind. And here, suddenly, like in the last case, he takes off his shirt. He keeps on his pants, but it's still very inappropriate doing this in the presence of a minor while cuddling them, kissing them, and then turning naked. Here he says we should cuddle more. He friended me and plans probably to do more in the future. Another kiss while being on top of me and wearing no clothes on his upper body. And yeah, it's not professional if I give my personal opinion here, but yeah, once again, just disgusting. And I kind of prayed at this point that this would be soon over, or he would do something even more explicit so I can confront him, but he didn't reveal too much about himself yet, so I had to keep going. Now he says he's sleepy and that he wants to go offline. And I tell him that it's time for me to get up as well. At this point, I kind of plan to keep him on my friend list and see where this develops. Maybe I can get his Discord some more details. But what actually happened is a few days later, he unfriended me. He probably got cold feet and quit. I mean, at least he made this realization, but I can only hope he won't do this again. And finally we get to our third case, and I really saved the worst one for last. And this time we have Rado M. He is 18 verified, and I can't show the groups in this case because he is in a lot of 18 plus groups and kink groups, which are just too graphic for YouTube to show. Again, he approached the decoy and asked if he can cuddle. I said sure, and immediately he starts petting me. So far the same pattern as in the first two cases. He had some problems with controlling his character, so I asked if he was new to VR and he said yes. Then he let me know that he feels calm and relaxed and is a little bit alone. And apparently he has a lot of care and love energy, whatever this means. There was the famous line again, "You're cute." Only a few minutes in he asked me to go private. Here I already got my routine down, so right away I ask him, "Okay, but how old are you?" And he lets me know that he is 28 actually, so the oldest guy so far from what we know. And he asks me, so straight away I tell him it's in my bio, and he goes check the bio, and after reading I'm 16 he says, "I'm okay." No doubts at all. He continues to ask me if I'm okay with his age, and I just play along, so I tell I don't mind it. There is the friend request once again. Next he asks in which world we should go, if I want to choose, and obviously it's your choice, so I don't want to be leading, so he has to make all the decisions. So we arrived there and we laid down, and he immediately started touching again. And he also went down to my bottom area. Here the sweet talk begins, it feels so cozy with you, and the grooming begins. He doesn't play VRChat often, which is a lie. I saw him online again and tells he only comes from time to time. Next I'm fishing for some information, so I ask him which time zone he is, and he says he's in Dubai, which was quite surprising. I let him know I'm in Europe. And he has this weird way of spelling, which he will do often. Yeah, he says he was just a week ago in Europe too. Not sure if it's a lie. Maybe he just wants to get me comfortable. I ask him if he travels a lot, and he at the same time confirms he travels a lot. He continues to pat my head. And once again he moves downwards on my body. And he also moves his hands towards the chest area. He knows I'm 16 and he's asking me, "Are you single?" I play along and say yes, and innocently ask why. And he tells me he thinks I'm too cute to be single. Again, complimenting me, making me feel special. And he continues by telling me I'm his favorite friend, even though we just met a few minutes ago and he doesn't know me at all. And he feels like himself near me. He probably means being a predator. Again, moving towards my bottom and my leg area and touching my body. Now he changed the position to get closer to me, patting my head. Yeah, this was a really weird situation. And already going for the first nose nuzzle, getting close to a kiss, not yet. Again, you are sweet, making compliments. And he asks if I like the cuddles. I play along. Here he tells me that he feels phantom sense when he is with me. And I obviously ask so fast already. I mean, I don't believe in phantom sense, but if it exists, it probably takes a long time. But he said he was a new player. And he says I have soft skin, so I act like I'm checking my skin, just to play dumb. Here he asks me if my body is getting warm, probably want to get some sexual talk out of me. And he says touching me is magic. Yeah, I'm sure, buddy, touching a minor is magic. It's the magic of getting into the prison, man. And he asks me if I can take off my top. and he wants to touch my skin. So really getting straight to the point. I told you this is the worst case. I play along a little bit. I make sure to not choose a too indecent one, but I still pick a top which reveals a little bit more skin. And he doesn't even wait. He just gets down to business and asks for the pants too. And I refuse. Here he is touching my chest area very explicitly, so I had to blur it out. And there we go, the first kiss of this encounter, fully knowing I'm 16 years old. And he goes for a second kiss right away. No time wasted at all. More sweet talk. He's so glad to be with me. Again, I mean, I just had 2 encounters, but yeah, I tell him I don't usually do this kind of stuff. And he says he does it for the first time as well, which probably is a lie because I saw him on my friend list in private instances quite a lot. I tell him I don't have as much experience as him in real life, again playing on my age. He asked me if I feel nice with him. And he feels nice too. And now he wants to switch worlds to have some calm music. And we're lying next to each other and he still asks me to get closer. And there we go for another kiss. This time much longer. Yeah, and apparently I'm taking him to the magic world. To the magic PDF world, I guess. More touching of my chest area. Again, I have to blur this part for YouTube. And there we go. Again, a kiss. I mean, this guy really baffling me. He's baffling me. I mean, no shame at all in his whole behavior. Fully knowing my age. You're lovely. Then he asked me again about me being single. Obviously I play on my age again and tell him I didn't really have many relationships so far, only one, and it wasn't long. And he gets straight to the point and he asked this miner, do you want to be in a relationship in VRC? And I told him I don't know. Then we had a disconnect and moved on to a new world when I reconnected. Sadly, I forgot to hit record right away, so a little bit of the conversation is missing. I basically tried to see how far he would go and told him the story that I actually lied about my age and I'm still 15 and I turned 16 in February next year and that I'm really sorry and I was just too shy to say it when we were kissing and stuff. So I asked him if he has a problem. As you can see right away, no shame at all. He acknowledged me being 15 and he still says it's no problem. And then he makes up this whole conversation about how it isn't an issue. And this was the really the disgusting part about this whole thing. He wants me to feel good when I'm with him. And here he talks about the kisses again. Now he knows I'm 15 and he still sees nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all. And I was really lost for words here. He wants me to be myself and not to worry. He should worry himself. Here he once again says, I'm yours even if you're 15. I mean, that's quite the insane statement. So I fish for more information, ask him where he's from, and he says he's half Spanish, half Egyptian and born in Dubai. And I tell him I never met someone like that. This was the point which annoyed me the most because the law on the internet is already problematic enough, but with this background I had no idea if I could get him with anything in which jurisdiction this problem lies. He tells me about his real life, but sometimes he wants to try something new. And this is the worst line out of the whole conversation. Trust me, age is just numbers, or age is nothing but a number. You hear this line in a lot of memes, but when you hear this from an actual predator who assumes he's talking to a 15-year-old minor, this really turned my stomach upside down. And he continues with making the excuses that you can be very old and still have a young mind, and none of this is relevant to the issue. It's freaking wrong. It's just plain wrong, and this guy makes up excuses. And yeah, the grooming just continues, and he tells me he will be there for me and I can always talk to him. I never expected to see something that bad, to be honest. And here, this is very cringy. He hits me with the heart emoji and follows it up with a laughing smiley emoji. And it gets worse and worse. Here he tells me he's back in a few minutes because he wants to take a forced shower, and I can only imagine why he is showering. I'm glad I can't see through his headset. I told him this was pretty quick because it really took like 5 minutes or anything. And yeah, obviously he says he missed me and he wanted to come back to me. Here he says he still wants to be with me every night. I tell him it's gonna be hard with the time difference. So he's basically still going for the whole girlfriend stick, which is insane, knowing now that I'm 15 years. I mean, 16 years is already sick, but 15 years. It can't get in my mind how people like this exist. Really no shame at all. And now he continues where he stopped earlier, going in for a kiss. And of course one isn't enough, so he goes for a second one as well. Again, I'm gonna let this play out for you in full and just know how disgusting this was for me and uncomfortably. But I had to endure this I mean, he was very talkative, so I thought maybe I can get more information out of him. But yeah. I was really questioning my life decisions here, knowing the things he said before. And now he starts with a massage, starting on my arms. And then he moves on directly to the chest area. No shame at all, I really have to blur this because this is very explicit. How much of a freak do you need to be? Here he tells me again about my skin, that it's so soft and wants to cuddle it. Probably implying I should finally take off my pants, which I'm not doing. Massaging my legs, and I shouldn't miss his legs cuddling, how he calls it, and that my legs want my touch, again implying I should probably take off the pants. Here he goes again for the chest area, and this was really the point. I was about to just use my mic and call him out, but I still had the hopes maybe I get more information, maybe I get his Discord to somehow nail him down. I confronted him a little bit and said that's more than cuddling. He doesn't even react to it, he just says, how do I feel? Again, I play innocent and tell him I never did stuff like that before, and he dives right back in. Yeah, he tells he's enjoying how we feel. He means how he feels, because those people don't care about their victims. And there is another cringe part where he draws a heart with his fingers. And again he talks about the pants and wants to see my panty. I tell him I'm still not sure about that. I mean, which teenager wouldn't feel weird in this situation? But he says it's okay. Tell him I go to sleep, and he hits me with the heart emoji again. And then he tells me that he's gonna sleep beside me. So I act like I fall asleep to see if he pulls off any weird stuff while I'm AFK. But he didn't really stick around for long, so he just, a few minutes after I fell asleep, he stood up and left the instance. He left me alone. So yeah, probably going on to the next victim. This case is so disgusting. A few days later, he invited me again, and I really didn't want to go through all of this again, so I just was ready for confrontation. And yeah. I mean, I could probably gather more evidence and maybe submit it to police force. But again, about knowing him, he's living in Dubai and in Egypt, and I hadn't any idea if this would result in anything. So I just went for it. I told him I need to sleep soon so I can get up early for school, and his only reaction was nice. Again, I mean, only children go to school, and he says nice. He wants to go to a more comfy world, so this time I chose the world to be on my home ground, I guess. And here I set up the confrontation. I ask him if his mic is working.
Yeah.
And I let him know my mic is working too. He asked if I want to use it, and sure enough, I'm telling him, yes, I want to talk. And here I set it up a little bit. I tell him, please promise me not to leave, because his first reaction will be he hears my voice and he just fucks off. So yeah. And he does promise me he won't leave. So I tell him I have some questions and I need him to talk.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to tell you, but I'm actually a YouTuber and I recorded everything. And I catch pedophiles.
You what?
I catch people like you who do stuff with minors. Like with this 15-year-old girl. I recorded every interaction. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Okay. No, come on, nothing happened. Just cuddles.
Nothing happened, okay? So you weren't kissing, you weren't touching with a 15-year-old.
What now? What do you want?
I have everything recorded, man. It's on tape. And I already reported you to VRChat.
Okay, cool.
I just want to know why you're doing this, and was this your first time with a minor?
One second.
Don't leave, man. I need your answers.
It's fine. Wait.
This concludes the last case of my investigation. I have shown you the footage of 3 different predators, one worse than the other. And with this whole situation, I was kind of wondering if these guys have such an easy time to find their victims, what are the groups actually doing about it? So I hopped onto Discord, joined one of the groups, and opened the ticket to request an interview. In my initial message, I let them know that I'm doing an investigation and that I caught 3 predators within their instance. Now, I have to admit, my original message may have come across a little bit confrontational. They never heard from me before, and I was just accusing them of things, basically. So I want to apologize for that, and it wasn't my intention, but I maybe had the wrong tone there. Their first reply was obviously to provide the user IDs, the proper evidence, and my tickets from the server. At this point, I told them that I'm currently compiling a Google Drive to submit all the proper evidence to VRChat itself. Obviously, from my perspective, I just witnessed all those things. I didn't know those guys, so I felt very hesitant to show them uncut footage and reveal my decoy account. Maybe they would ban him, I don't know. So maybe I was a little bit overprotective there. I also let them know that the evidence, as you have probably seen, isn't enough for contacting the authorities about it. I further explained my reasoning for not reporting them right away, and that I keep them on my friends list to further investigate them, and I told them about my fear that the report itself won't do much. And I'm also telling them that my videos are there to make awareness, because they thought I was just doing this for clout. Then the admin called me rightfully out for having caught all these guys but didn't even submit a report. And yeah, this was really something that later would be on my mind. Did I do the right thing? I don't believe in VRChat, and we will get to my reasoning for that, but I should have at least let the group know, and so they can protect their own people. And this was definitely a fault on my part. As you may have seen on my YouTube channel, I opened a poll after this, in quotation marks, interview, and I asked my subscribers how I should react in situations like this. Should I already confront them and report them at the first word interaction, like cuddles, kisses and stuff, or should I continue and see how far those people go? And the opinions were pretty split there. It was like 40-60 or something. Yeah, for the future, I will probably do a proper report and still keep investigating until they are banned. And further, they accused me of doing this for clout. I mean, I can understand their point of view. If you see my YouTube videos, if you see my titles, they all seem pretty sensational. And if you just type VRChat Predator into YouTube, you found a lot of bad actors who call every minor thing a predator already. It paints a pretty bad picture, and there are definitely a lot of people doing this for fame or money or whatever. I'm not one of them. I don't plan on turning on monetization, and I certainly won't reveal my face to get popular. I'm gonna stay anonymous, and I don't really want those guys to know what I look like or what's my name or anything. So I do this for educational reasons and also to create awareness about those predators. I didn't really take it personal or anything, and as I said, I definitely took some things away from this, which I will change in the future, and it was a pretty useful insight. But the one thing this conversation actually told me is those guys definitely care. They don't like predators, and they don't make this happen intentionally or anything. So we are basically on the same side, and I really read the passion in those replies about getting those guys off the platform, and I can respect that. We may have a disagreement there, but I definitely appreciate them, and that's why I said in the beginning of the video, don't go out to harass any of those groups. Those are good guys. They are not some like of those suspicious groups you find in the game, and they are really doing their best. Again, I explain my reasoning a little bit, and I tell them about Orc Blood getting banned. I tell them about Unbannable, this infamous group with predators like Tech Gangster, Dreamy, Sonic Uwu, and Lolly Lollicon. Then there is this Predator Catch group I know who have 6 arrests, but this is out of 30 cases. I told them about the cases I had myself and that nothing happened there. So yeah, that's why I don't trust VRChat. And now you saw this video by Brandon FM where he exposed one of the developers, which further ruins my trust into the company. Then I let him know again that I believe they take this seriously, and this was also the reason why I did contact them. I could have just done a sensational video like some people do and call it a day. This wasn't my intention. I really wanted to hear about their perspective, and there they explain their limitations a little bit. They can't do much besides checking bios, keeping notes and stuff. And then he goes in a big post deeper into the moderation of their group. So please pause the video, read this message. It's pretty insightful. Yeah, it basically shows once again they do their best. So I can't blame them. Initially, they denied my interview request, but this ticket somehow developed a little bit into an interview. So I thought of 4 main questions I had beforehand, which I would have asked in an actual interview. The first question was about a very subjective feeling. I just had a feeling that I don't see a lot of moderation or people with the banner from the group who show themselves as staff members. And I talked about this problem. I also noticed that some trolls didn't get kicked early enough. They replied, and it's because of targeted harassment, totally understandable, and that they also do this to stay out of sight. So when people do weird stuff, they don't know that the moderation is around. I can totally see this perspective. I think if you have a town where the police patrols a lot, then there will be less crime, right? So I think maybe it would be a kind of reasonable to show more presence there. But yeah, it's just a different approach, I guess. And I also later actually had a case where some weird guy was following me around, and I initiated a vote kick just to see, and yeah, they promptly removed him. So there's definitely moderation, and it was just the wrong impression. Yeah, my second question basically covered the same issue, and yeah, he also explains vote kicking obviously and didn't work because most people, surprise surprise, sleep in a sleeping world, so obviously those vote kicks don't go through. But it's also always an alert to the moderation. But yeah, they are just noticing the vote kick, they observe, and then they react accordingly. One of my main points was that they have a separation into an 18+ instance and a normal instance. My problem with this was basically the non-age verified instance openly invites minors, and during my investigation I met a lot of them. This obviously creates a problem. One of the biggest problems, however, is kind of created by VRC itself through how groups work. You can join any groups, and now you have this instance where there are minors and adults, and a lot of those adults. You just need to join a random sleeping world, check the profiles, 2 or 3 profiles in, you will find someone who has tons of kink groups, sexual groups, all kind of indecent groups. And obviously, if you're a minor, you check profiles of others, you see all this stuff. You can't really ask the moderation of such an instance to keep everyone out who is in those groups. It's just simply not possible. It's a part of the game. Still, this kind of got me worried. So again, you see the answer on the screen. The admin I talked to was very worried about the same issue, and he told me how he tried to get a change about this in the past, and he told me he was very active trying to make a change there. Again, I can't blame them. It's part of the game. I can't have the moderation check every single user for any lewd or indecent group, right? Yeah, this is on VRChat, but they are aware of the issue. They don't like it. It's just something they have to deal with. I have to look in other directions to find the people who are in fault for this. Yeah, the last thing was about the minors. I said I encountered a lot of minors and I had to block a lot of minors, and their reply to this was, compared to other worlds, we don't have that many. The vast majority is 18 plus. I was sitting around a lot in those worlds, right? And I was scanning every single profile, everyone who comes in, and yeah, there were a lot of minors. Now, if you put it into relation, and I have to make a guess, and this isn't based on actual numbers, just from my impression, you can tell maybe 10 to 20% are definitely minors. So yeah, it's not a majority, but there are a lot. But once again, it's VRC. You can't really do anything. It's their system. But with this, all my questions were answered basically, and we went into a further exchange, and we also had some private messages which I won't display. Everything from the ticket system I am allowed to display. They gave me their agreement to this, and I'm pretty thankful for this because I think it's pretty insightful to get their perspective. In the end, we kind of got on the same side again, and I think they really understood that I'm not doing this for any malicious intent. I really just want to do the best, and I make a lot of faults. I mean, you saw it in this video. I screwed up in multiple parts, like not confirming age fast enough, like having a minor decoy set up as 16 instead of 14 or 15, and my general approach. Those are things I want to improve. And yes, my channel is sensational, but in the end, it's for a good reason, to create awareness. All I can say, definitely those groups do their best. Those groups work on the issue. It's just, you can't prevent it fully.